Okay, hey, welcome everybody. Want to get this thing started. We thank you very much for being here. Yeah, why don't you come on in? You're so far away.
There's too many governors here to stand back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Closer.
Come on up.
We're all friends here.
Now that's a leader that gets things done.
Gets things done. That was bold. Hey, listen, thank you. This is the last stop on our Unity tour. I'm Doug Racine, and I'm here with four of the five of us. Matt sends his regrets, but he was with the tour earlier today in Brattleboro and White River Junction. He's actually back at work, and he says it's okay to be out for a little while because Google is in the West Coast, and they don't really start stirring until around 11 o'clock our time. But he went back to work. But he's certainly with us here in spirit. I want to thank you all for being here, and folks around the state. We've had an excellent tour. We are doing what we all said we would do during the campaign, which was to rally around the winner after the campaign was over and present a unified ticket. Because what unites us are many issues, values, and vision for the state of Vermont, and what divides us is actually very little. And the differences between any of us are very small, but the differences between any of us and Brian Doobie are huge. And that's the message we want to present to Vermonters. Yes. And that's the message that we've had right along. No matter the outcome here, we are going to be unified. We are going to be presenting our vision through a candidate, but it's our vision, and it's a united vision, because the differences here, again, are very small, and the difference with Brian Doobie is huge. And we're going to be talking about that right now, between now and Election Day. I want to thank you all for coming out, and the folks around the state. It's really been remarkable as we've talked to folks in St. Albans and Shelburne and Rutland and Bennington, Brattleboro, White River, and now here. There are people in the audience who have supported any one of the five of us and have helped in the individual campaigns. But those campaigns are over, and it's time to come together. And I will address what I've been calling the awkwardness right up front, and that's that I've asked for that recount, and Peter and everybody else have been very supportive of it. And that recount is underway even as we speak. We actually had a lot of volunteers show up, more than actually could be used in some of the stations. Janet Ansell there was turned away. Sorry, Janet. But we thank you and others for being part of it. A lot of folks we're hearing from think it can be done in a couple, 3 days, and that is clearly the hope. But what I'm asking people on this tour, and what I've been asking people since this process began, is that we recognize that we have a presumptive candidate, and that's Peter Shumlin. And I applaud him for that. He is ahead. I'm asking people to rally around, to start getting involved in his campaign, to write checks out to his campaign. Because the odds are that the recount, when it ends, probably will show it, but may not. And that's why I've asked for that recount. It's possible that there could be a different outcome. And if this thing gets turned on its head in the recount, we're going to switch positions, and Peter and I are going to continue to campaign together to elect a Democratic governor of the state of Vermont. Because we are together. And we have been together right from the start in articulating a vision for this state, which is very different from Brian Doobie's. We have been together articulating values, which are very different from Brian Doobie's. We're all talking about the economy because the economy is so vital to this state. But Brian Doobie's talking about an economy that he thinks is going to work for a few people at the top, and then it's going to trickle down for everybody else. That doesn't work. It didn't work for Ronald Reagan. It didn't work for the country. It wouldn't work for Vermont. What we're talking about is a vision for an economy that benefits every single Vermonter, every single business owner, and every single worker in this state.
Yes.
And that's going to allow us to protect the values that are so important to us as Vermonters. It's the value of protecting our environment, something that's being ignored by Brian Doobie. It's the value of protecting those who are vulnerable and who need our help, something that's being completely ignored by Brian Doobie. It's the value of making sure that Vermonters have adequate health care. We have access to health care, not just for those who are fortunate enough to have a job at the time, but for everybody in the state of Vermont. And that's a value that's very different from Brian Doobie's, who's very happy with the health care system that we have right now. We are united in saying we can have an economy that works for everybody in this state. And we're going to stay together on that, and we're going to carry that message together no matter what the outcome of this recount is. But for right now, I want people to recognize Peter Shumlin as the nominee of the Democratic Party until this recount is over, and let's get behind him, and let's be working. This campaign is underway. The differences are great. The choice for Vermonters couldn't be clearer between our vision and our values on the one hand and Brian Dubie's on the other. And we're going to carry that message together, the four of us, throughout this campaign. So I really want to thank people for being involved. 74,000 Democrats came out. The pundits said it wasn't going to happen, and that means there's real interest in the values that are being articulated by the Democratic candidates. And we're going to take those 74,000 people who are split 5 ways, and we're going to combine them into one strong, organized campaign, unified campaign going on to November. We've got a tremendous base to work from. We're only going to add to that as this campaign goes along, because we've got the message that's right for Vermont. It's a message about our future. It's a message about opportunity for every Vermonter and every Vermont child. We're going to get a good education, a high-quality higher education, and good jobs for those kids when they're out of school. And to continue our message and talking about it, I'm going to turn it over to Senator Susan Bartlett, who, like all of us, ran a tremendous campaign. Susan, thank you.